Welcome everyone. My name is Manish Shah. I'm the Midwest Chapter Lead for Holistic Science Charitable Research Foundation. In my day job, I'm the Senior Director of R&D and Innovation at the Lake Forest Graduate School of Management. Today's topic is holistic science and its benefits. The talk will be conducted in a question and answer format. Let me introduce today's holistic science expert, Dr. Sailesh Anandji. Dr. Sailesh Mehta, or we call him Dr. Sailesh Anandji, is a practicing ophthalmologist who owns a hospital in Vadodara, India. From his childhood, he was curious about the deeper truths of life. He came in touch with self-realized holistic scientist Sri A. M. Patel, and through his grace, Dr. Mehta attained self-realization in 1977. Dr. Mehta is a celibate and is deeply experienced in the field of holistic inner science. He devotes his time to studying, researching, and spreading the message of holistic inner science. In his quest to spread the message of holistic science, he has traveled to countries such as USA, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. His speeches on holistic science have been well received at national and international conferences. He is the author of several books, which include Introduction to Holistic Science and Integral Living and Science of Liberation. It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Sailesh Anandji. Sailesh Anandji, welcome.
Oh, greetings to all.
So let's begin with our first question. Sailesh Anandji, if you can talk to us about what holistic science is and what are its origins.
Sure. So, holistic science, or more elaborately as we call it, holistic inner science, it is science of our own life and living, including mind, speech, body, inner processes going on, along with the outer circumstantial circumstances and situations, animate and inanimate, and the natural regulatory system. If I elaborate a little more onto it, it's a science of my own relative self as well as real self. One can say the science of conscious as related to the matter, non-live live matter, and it includes science of my own relative inner self, which comprises of mind, intellect, reflective consciousness, and ego. Uh, on a practical side, it gives me easy understanding or keys for my happy, harmonious, rich, meaningful inner living and extending to the ultimate truths or the ultimate fundamentals of the natural regulatory system. So this, I would say, is what the holistic inner science in brief about.
So then a follow-up question is this science affiliated to any religion?
No, certainly not. When I say it is a science, see, the religion is confined into the boundaries of do's and don'ts, and mostly we relate it to the traditions or the rituals. Here it is the knowledge, it is the light of correct understanding, and we are trying to understand the perfect fundamentals governing our own life and living in connection to the natural regulatory system. So no way it's related to any religion. In fact, holistic is all inclusive, all comprehensive, and moreover, it is beneficial to one and all, irrespective of any bars or barriers of caste, color, creed, nationality, literary, or economic status. So I can aptly say that this is a light or understanding of the holistic inner science. And if I extend it more, the outer science and inner science also are not different, but they are the continuum of the same spectrum of the science.
Wonderful. So where did this science originate from, Shailesh
Oh,
Anandji?
yeah, certainly. Uh, uh, in the present era of science, we have seen that there has been a tremendous progress in various disciplines of science, nanotechnology, stem cells, genetics, neutrinos, and that has gifted us with abundance of comforts and luxuries. But still, if I look within, do I find that I have a stress, clashes, and other things? So the enlightened ones, they found that the only the research and in-depth study of the outer or relative sciences may not give the human beings answer for the inner issues, or may not give the human being inner happiness. In fact, the science is one which makes the humans happy in all perspectives, from within and without, especially from within. So they went in the research of the inner self, or the science of the inner self, and when they are accomplished, not only they become ultimately blissful, but they share the light and experience to one and all. So in the present era, Mr. A.M. Patel, lovingly known as Dada Bhagwan, he was in search of the eternal truths of the life and living, and he was enlightened in 1958. So from 1962 onwards, he started sharing his experiences of this holistic inner science to one and all. Today, it is being pursued and continued by another person known as Sri Kanubhai K. Patel, who is also self-realized enlightened soul. In the past, if we look back to history, the history and the scriptures do tell us that from time to time, such light has come to the rescue of a disturbed mankind, and there were so many people in the past who were sharing the same light. But today, what is most important is it should be in line with the present circumstances. It should be such that the present scenario, the mankind can easily understand it, easily use it, and moreover can get the results effortlessly.
Yeah, that's a great introduction to the science. So then, what are the benefits of holistic inner science?
Yeah, if I tell it in brief, as I started in present era of tremendous progress of relative sciences, we do have more than required outer comforts and luxuries, but we are still in search of inner, happy, harmonious, rich, meaningful inner living. So first primary benefit is it enables me to have a happy, harmonious, rich, meaningful inner living even in critical or testing situations. Secondly, it enables me to recognize my inner potentials and make best use of my inner potentials. Thirdly, it enables me to experience and enjoy my inner freedom even amidst all types of different situations or even in challenging situations. And fourth, it does guide me to have my ultimate goal or ultimate aim of my life. What's the purpose of my life as human being, ultimate purpose of my life? And it enables me to achieve my ultimate purpose of life. Somebody tells it as salvation, somebody tells it as liberation, whatever you tell it, but it does guide you to decide and achieve the ultimate purpose of your life. This is in brief. In fact, there are so many advantages, but let me make it brief at the moment.
So can you give a couple of examples, especially in the Western society and even in Eastern society these days, the pace of life has increased quite a bit, and that is a cause of a lot of stress and disharmony in our day-to-day living. So can you give us a couple of examples to illustrate how holistic science can come into play and help us out when we are in midst of these kinds of circumstances that are challenging?
Oh, sure. So, as you are rightly mentioning, today's life has become so fast, moreover, so attached to all the electronic gadgetries or toys and competitions and comparisons. But whatever the society, Eastern, Western, and whatever the time, past, present, or future, as I understand, why are we running for? What are we looking for at the bottom line? So, I understand that the one word is happiness. Everybody is in search of happiness, whether it is by means of pay package, whether it is by means of status, whether it is by means of anything. So there should be a research for happiness. What gives me happiness? So primarily the human beings or we all are searching happiness by way of competition and comparison. But in competition, hardly a only a one horse gets number one, all the other horses are breathless, and number one also has a tension that when the others will surpass me. So the holistic inner science starts giving the key to happiness, that normal and natural living is the key to happiness. Above normal is also fever, below normal is also fever. And if we turn back and look to nature, a beautiful rose flower doesn't blossom in competition to anybody. Beautiful fruits do not become beautiful fruits in competition to anybody. It's their naturality. So if I recognize my natural abilities, and if I allow my natural abilities to blossom, I would be happy like anything. Second important thing, despite having all the amenities outside, do I have happiness at the level of heart? Do I have fulfillment? So what is the key to happiness at the level of heart? And I will give you a couple of simple examples. Suppose I decide that I'll help somebody who is in trouble. Even before I go out and help, I start feeling happy within. I have fulfillment. My inner energy level becomes uplifted, my atoms and molecules become positive, my energy or aura body or biomagnetic energy field, if measured, will become positive. Why to go to such a big thing? Let's go to a small thing. We have a grandson in our home. His or her birthday is coming after 15 days. And I just decide that I'll invite few children and have a small party. Yet I have not invited anybody, not spent a penny out of my pocket, but from the moment I decide, I will start feeling happiness fast. So the secret, simple secret is whatever actions of my mind, body and speech which are going to make others happy will make me happy first. Before helping others, I am being helped myself. Before obliging others, I am being obliged myself. And if I look on the other side, what is disturbing me day in and day out? Suppose I am a manager of some company and I got the report that some employees are not performing well. And I decided, okay, let me go, I'll fire them and I'll do this and that. They may be enjoying. What happens to me? Before really I go out and fire, there is a fire within me. And if somebody clicks a photograph and sends me on a WhatsApp, I'll not like to see my own photograph. If I look at the mirror, I'll not like to see my own face. So this sort of situations keep on occurring in our daily living. So the another counterpart of the simple truth is whatever actions of my mind, body, speech which are going to hurt others, fire at others, disturb others, do disturb me first. If this simple truth is realized, whatever I am doing, whether I'm racing, whether I'm doing any job, at the heart, I have the resolution that let me do the job in such a way that let my mind, speech and body not hurt any living being, and let my mind, speech and body make one and all happy. Humorously to say, let me open the happiness shop. And with that inner attitude, inner inclination and inner decision, I think whatever I am doing, I will be on correct track. So what the holistic science is trying to tell or suggest is it's not trying to change your situations or circumstances. It's not trying to give any mandate that do this and don't do this, but it gives you the guiding understanding. It gives you the guiding vision lights which are the universal vision lights which you can use it and you will be fine. So the first and foremost principle is if I have this correct understanding that each action of my mind, speech and body do affect me first before affecting others. So why I was not aware so far of this simple truth? Because the people and universities and professors and teachers and environment taught me everything to look outside, but it never taught me to look within myself. So the very simple lesson, first lesson holistic inner science tries to teach or give to the people is learn how to look within each moment of life, whether you tell it as awareness, whether you tell it as a mindfulness, whatever you say. But once I start looking within me, my job has been done most way. I think this is the first lesson. If you want me to extend it further, I can say that whenever the two human beings come together in whatever capacity, whether employee and employer, whether a manager and underhand, whether at a family, spouse, whether father and children, means parents and children, consumer and seller, whatever capacity, one of the two situations come up. Either each one has some distrust, some pulling around, whether my interests are being preserved or not, some smart game playing, and that leads to lack of harmony, stress, clash, disadjustments, and whatever. Or there can be another way that each one can have a happy, harmonious, loving, sharing, caring, cordial dealing with each other. I think everybody of us do want the second situation, but we do not have the keys how to have that situation. So holistic inner science does offer those keys of interactive interpersonal dealings, and the two more golden keys are avoid clashes and adjust everywhere. So if you wish, I can go on detailing those two keys also. Do you want me to have expound onto that?
Yeah, sure. I think our second talk is going to be a more detailed talk on all the maxims, but if you could briefly expound on those two, that would be very, very helpful.
Okay, so the first part, I think I have suggested that we are all running and running and running for one single word, happiness, and I have given the two important keys for happiness, normal and natural living, and try to open the happiness shop or have the obliging nature. Now we are going to interconnected, interactive, or interpersonal dealings in whatever capacity. So as I suggested, or as I outlined, I may have smaller or bigger clashes or disputes. So the holistic inner science is scientifically explaining that whenever I have any clash, what happens within me? I lose my harmony, I lose my inner energy, my mood may go down, I may have some disturbance in my clarity or comprehending capacity too. So it is evident that right or wrong, with a clash, I am losing within me. So it's not, I should now have the answer, how can I get out of it? So once I decide to avoid clash, my inner understanding light, my inner wisdom will show me how to resolve the situation without entering into clashes. Some people do ask me, is it that I have to let go everything? I have to suffer every time? No, never. Don't let go. Don't suffer. Otherwise, it will act like a press spring which will rebound and throw everything sometime. It is resolving the situation, it's not suffering. So once I decide to avoid clash, my inner light will show me the way how to resolve the situation amicably such that the minds or heart will not break apart. There's a wonderful word like a common sense. When I was asked what is your common sense level, I said probably 100 plus, because plus in reserve and 100 at least I have. But when the enlightened one gave the definition of common sense, that common sense is one which is applicable everywhere, theoretically as well as practically, such that I can resolve any situation without minds or heart breaking apart. I started wondering what is my common sense level. But once I decide to avoid clashes, my common sense will go on building up. Another important part, why do the clashes occur? I don't want to enter into clashes with Manish by you, or so to say with anybody, but I feel I'm right, you feel you are right, everybody feels he or she is right, and trying to convince you and push my truth to you, the clashes start. So holistic inner science says that I have all the right to persuade, to put forward my view, but at the same time, I should be aware that everyone is correct by his or her own viewpoint. So, with that awareness, I'll be able to avoid the clash and, in fact, rather be able to resolve the situation amicably. The second aspect, which is taking my harmony away in present times, especially, is I don't have any problem with my basic amenities. They are more than enough, and especially with you in USA, I have seen that you have more than enough number of clothes and shoes and freezes and whatnot. So the issue is not with the basic requirements or with the requirements of luxury. Then what is the issue? There are four people in home and all the personalities are different. So I can't adjust easily with my wife. The wife cannot easily adjust with husband. The parents cannot easily adjust with children. I can't adjust with my colleagues at work, whether they are superior or in underhand to me. So the issue is, how do I adjust with each other? And even though I bear with the situation, my heart is not happy. So the third golden key the holistic inner science gives is adjust everywhere. And the issue is how to adjust. I won't, but how can I? Because my personality is not south with the others. So here the holistic inner science gives a beautiful analogy that when we go to garden, we love the garden like anything. So are the things, plants and trees similar in a garden? No. We deliberately put all different varieties together. One is a white flower, another is a pink, the third is jasmine and orchid and rose, blueberry and strawberry. And does one complain to another? Does blueberry tell to the rose, why don't you have a beautiful fruit like me? Or does rose tell to the blueberry that why don't you have a flower like me? Or do we ever go and complain to the rose that why do you have a thorn? So similarly, if I use this vision, all the human beings around me, whether at a home, whether at a workplace, whether in a society, everywhere, they are all different, like different plants and trees in the scheme of nature, but none without a fruit or a flower, meaning thereby everyone has some positive ability, some virtue, some skills. I should try to find out what one knows and make best use of it rather than complaining what one doesn't know. So if I try to put in your language, management language, a good manager is one who knows the abilities of all the co-workers and can make best use of it rather than complaining what one doesn't know. Is that true?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
So some simple keys like this really makes our inner world transformed, a new vision. The inner world changes to a new, and the outer world certainly changes to the new. In fact, if I go out and ask a question to the people as a whole, what is more important, the world outside or the world within? Usually we point our fingers at the world outside because of and due to. But the holistic inner science suggests you to look within, and all the answers would be available when you start learning to look within. Okay, I'll wait for your next question.
So this is wonderful. Thank you for mentioning a couple of really important maxims like adjust everywhere and avoid clashes, and giving some examples to see how we can incorporate there in those in our personal and professional lives. We have some questions, Dr. Sailesh Anandji, from the audience. So now we will go to our first question from the audience.
May I ask a question?
Yeah,
oh, sorry. Sure. Go right ahead. May I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I didn't realize there was a couple of people ahead of me. Dr. Sailesh Anandji, I'm really enjoying your talk. Thank you for joining us and presenting holistic inner science. In the topic, I noticed science is part of the institution. Can you elaborate why it it's called holistic inner science and not spirituality or some other term?
Okay, so here we are trying to understand and expound on the terms of holistic inner science. See, what I understand, even the word, see, we have already clarified the word religion. As far as the spirituality is concerned, what the world at large understands is spirituality is something inner conceptual thing or sort of inner philosophical or inner some understanding. But again, it does not try to make the things clear in terms of scientific understanding, what I understand by the term science is two clear things. One is cause-effect relationship. For every effect, there should be some relation with the cause, and science should be able to explain some cause-effect relationship. But moreover, what I have understood is with each process is happening inside, as I explained, that's whenever I have the clash or with anybody, if I look within, and even if I take the help of, let's say, brain mapping machine, or the what they have come out now is the functional MRI, or the if I take the photograph of my energy bodies or aura bodies, I'll be able to see that with each clash, my inner energy level goes down, my harmony gets disrupted, and even the machines will be able to make note of it. With several gadgets, like the people have taken the photographs of aura bodies, and if when you are having the good decision of helping out somebody, when you are having the attitude of obliging with somebody, your energy levels or aura body pictures or your functional brain mapping may be different. And whenever you are in the mode that, okay, I'll take the revenge, I will show him or her, I'll fire at him or her, your aura body pictures or your functional brain mapping pictures will be different. So what I'm trying to say is, all these, whatever we are discussing here, inner and outer, is definitely correlated right in that moment with our all the effects, not only at the level of mind, but at body, mind, and soul. So if I say all the three things, body, mind, and soul, are connected, if I expound it a little more, in our body there are two types of nervous systems, sympathetic and parasympathetic, and it affects all the cellular levels also. So suppose Manish Bhai will send me a message, oh, you did a great job, then all my systems will send the positive signals, all my cellular energy and even the endocrinal hormones will be positively secreting. And on the other hand, suppose I have some report which is a stressful, some report of illness of my near and dear one, and I'm in a stress. So with a stress also, body releases cortisol and adrenaline and so many psychosomatic diseases and everything. It affects not only my mind, but it affects my body as well as soul. So the holistic inner science is trying to connect everything, body, mind, and soul, IQ, EQ, SQ, and many things can be measured by the tools available. Of course, there may be certain things which are beyond the tools developed today, because all the tools are developed by the five senses and the truths perceived based on the five senses. But what illuminates these five senses? So the knower and perceiver and experiencer. So even today's modern science is trying to accommodate and understand the terms like awareness, experience, conscious, and other things. So holistic inner science is trying to understand, assimilate, and put everything together. So each and every person, from whatever angle one wants to understand, can take the benefit. And second important thing, what, as I said, the principle that once my mind, body, and speech trying to make others happy, I become happy first. Whenever my mind, speech, or body are trying to hurt others, I get hurt first. Do you think this principle holds true only for me, or it holds true for everybody, Punita?
Everybody, absolutely everybody.
So whatever is holding true for everybody, or a universally applicable thing or theory, becomes a fundamental or a principle in a science. Science is one where one principle can be practiced by many people to get almost similar or same results. So that's why I say this is a holistic inner science.
Thank you. That was beautifully answered. Thank you.
So we have the second question now from the audience.
Good evening. This is Rajnikant Patel from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Dr. Shailesh Anandji, I agree with you, and life is very complicated. And you say that holistic science is to know the correct understanding. I have two questions on this one. One is, how to get good understanding so that we can make our life less complicated. And the other thing is, I'm a scholar of science. So you said holistic science is science. So science to me is you have to do theorem, you have to have experiment, you have to have tool, and then you get the result. So if you can throw some light on this, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Rajni bhai, can you please detail your first question for me?
Uh, my first question was, you said earlier you said that holistic science is correct understanding. So, all the time we think we are a correct understanding till we get into trouble. So, how can holistic science help us in the beginning to a correct understanding so we do not get into trouble?
Sure. So, let me first explain how our human machine, I would say, our human body works. So, I can go ahead and say that our human life is a unique, ongoing, live experiment. And when I say experiment, there has to have the two parts, experiment and experimenter. So here what constitutes experiment is my first tool, body. Now what is driving my body, or how my actions are driven? So when I look within, I have the relative inner self, my mind, my reflective consciousness, my intellect, my ego. Further than that, I have my opinions and beliefs, or even maybe prejudices. Further than that, I may have intent and motives. Further than that, it may be overshadowed by my anger, greed, pride, deceit, attachments or aversions, and some form of understanding. So this inner processing is going on. Now, all this machinery working interconnectedly basically works according to what my understanding is working at. Whether I am trying to dominate the other people, where I am trying to be friendly with the other people, some such things. So, with whatever I am getting as inputs from the outer world goes in through the five senses, gets processed, and the reaction or response comes. But in between, my opinions and my beliefs or my understanding comes into play. So it can be said that the life is nothing but a bundle of beliefs or opinions and effects arising thereout of. So here, if I change my filter of understanding from negative to positive, or one which is leading me to troubles, if I can change it to the another filter of understanding, which relieves me from the puzzles for myself as well as for others, the whole experiment and the outcome of experiment changes. So you are right that everybody feels that my understanding is correct. So there has to have some yardstick, some measurement, some tool to see whether my understanding is correct or not. So if my understanding is correct, or whatever I believe it to be correct, if it is leading me to any sort of clashes, if it is leading me to stresses, if it is leading me to differences of opinions, if it is leading to lack of harmony, then I should think that probably this is not a correct understanding. In any experiment, if my understanding or if my knowledge of fundamental is correct, the desirable results would come effortlessly. So what we desire in life, of course, happiness, harmony, of course, a situation free of clashes and stresses. So what understanding can give me that? That will be the correct understanding in terms of holistic inner science. So three already have outlined: open the happiness shop, or try to have the attitude of obliging. Now let me go further. Suppose you are a CEO, you are owning a big company, or you are holding a important position in a corporate. So your driving forces are always figures of profits. Oh, this much profit, this much must be there. And in that bargain, you adopt the means of hire, fire, and whatever. And at the end of the day, the company may have good profits, but you may have sleepless nights. So there can there be a better way of doing the things? And regularly, many managements are adopting the ways of different ways to achieve the same targets. So I can have the way where I can have the inner attitude or inner inclination of making one and all happy, that is my main product, including not only my employees, but my consumers, my buyers, my shareholders, and still I can have the best situation. So similarly, avoid clashes or adjust everywhere. And what is in my self-interest? And that has to be in self-interest naturally with everybody, because there is no other in the world. Actually, the holistic inner science gives me the vision that there is no other in the world. Even by interconnected dealings, I'm connected to everybody, and each action of my mind, speech, and body does affect me. So world is me only. So with this concept, my total inside vision and outside world changes. So this is one way of correct understanding which leads me as well as to others on a happy, harmonious mode. So that is what, and there are many, many more correct understandings to come in a holistic inner science. Does that answer your first question, or do you want some more detailing from me?
No, I think you answered both my question together, which was very good. What my take is, I like your idea about opening the shop of happiness, and I think I'm going to apply for a company to start doing that. And other your thing was positivity in the understanding. If you
Yes.
bring positivity before you do the action, that will really, really help out in our personal life. But now, one thing I want to follow up, Manish bhai, if it's okay. He said, no other in the world. Now, how do you bring selfishness or not selfishness into this? When you make the statement, no other in the world, then my connotation of selfishness comes into picture.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, our modern intellect may question like that, but heart of my saying was, when the world is me only. I did say the second part, world is me only. It implies that to whom I will hurt, to whom I will deceive, to whom I will play over smart. It is me only. So I will take care of others as I'm taking care of myself. And if I expand more, suppose whenever I'm trying to play over smart with somebody, I'm trying to sell some goods, making more use of my sharp intellect. Before deceiving others, I'm deceiving myself. Before being dishonest to others, I am being dishonest to myself. So what I'm trying to say is, each action of my mind, body, and speech aimed at others, positively or negatively, do affect me first. So with this awareness, it will open out my vision like anything, that it is me, me, and me only. So how should I be behaving with others? Of course, positively. Of course, with friendliness, because I'm friendly to myself. Of course, with love and care and share, because I am loving myself. So the real meaning was not a selfishness, but a broad vision like this. But thank you for bringing out the other aspect of the coin, which the people may understand, of course. And
No, this
in
is
the future discourses, we will really try to understand what is the self and what really the selfishness is in its true sense, not now. And as far as the positive vision is concerned, positive vision is the correct vision, and it starts with the correctness, and ultimately it moves towards exactness of the vision. Once I understand my life experiment properly and correctly, and especially the natural regulatory systems and laws of nature governing my life and living, my vision starts getting or becoming correct and goes towards exactness. So this positive vision or positive understanding in any given situation, whatever or however it may be appearing perplexed, it gives me the inner positive or correct understanding. Once I'm resolved from within, I can resolve the outer situation better way. So this is a second important fundamental truth, that before managing the outside situation, before managing the others, I should be able to manage my relative inner self in a better way or a proper way. If I know how to resolve my inner self and how to manage my inner self in a better way, I would be in a best position to resolve or handle any type of situation on outer side. So one who knows how to manage one's own self can manage everybody.
Thank you very much. Now, my understanding of selfishness is that you have to be selfish for your own self so you become happy internally and then make others happy. So, thank you very
Yes.
much.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying, Sailesh Anandji. We have another question coming from audience.
Hello, Dr. Sailesh Anandji. It's great to see you, and this talk has been wonderful, and you've gone into some very deep, in-depth detail. My question is a little more on the practical level, just kind of giving us some practical application of everything you've been talking about. What are some ways to find a good balance between our inner and outer world utilizing holistic inner science?
Okay, sure. A very good question. So inner and outer balance, as Shaila is asking. So first and foremost, if I look back, how I'm living a life. Most of us are living a are trying or are managing one or two corners of life. Even including myself, when I was not aware of this science, I was running behind career and money, professional life, how best to earn, how much to earn. But in so doing, my time and energy and my understanding was not there to look at the other corners of the life, including familial living, husband, wife, or parents, children, including social living, including my inner spiritual or inner development or my own health. So first concept the holistic inner science tries to give is look at all corners of life and living, including career, money, professional, familial living, social living, national living, global living, eco-friendly living, and more importantly, my inner living. Inner living is much more important than the outer living. In fact, inner and outer are not different, but in the worldly language, we say as outer living and inner living. So if I look within me, in each aspect or each moment of life, something goes on outside and more also goes in within me. So once I started looking within me, and as I said, first principle that each action of my mind, speech, and body do affect me. With that awareness, my choices started becoming clear that the bottom line is what enables me to have the happy, harmonious, and meaningful inner living. Second important aspect was what is the meaning of my life? What is the aim or what is the goal of my life? Is the goal of my life to make some few $1,000s and raise the children and send them to universities, and that is all that everybody is doing? So what is the aim or goal of my life? And broadly speaking, the holistic inner science has given me two goals. One, obliging nature, and two, try to find out who am I or what is the permanent or eternal truth in this ever-changing world. So with these two broad aims or goals, everything started falling in track. So that is second thing. The third thing, as I said, with each outer happening, there is some questions or something arises within me. So holistic inner science understandings, as we will also detail in future, how it is happening naturally or how the things are happening, what are the rules or what are the fundamentals. So what I need is resolving, guiding, answer light from within for the inner effects I am passing through day in and day out. So the holistic inner science light gives me the resolving, guiding light. Suppose I give you a simple example. In your situation, suppose your husband behaves in some particular way to you. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you may not like it. And most of the times we blame it others, that my husband is such and such, my father is such and such, and my manager is such and such. And that's a very common situation. Okay, the blame may be justified by few other people. But what happens when I blame others? Do I get happy or do I get disturbed? So whenever I'm trying to find faults with others, or I'm seeing the fault with others, I also do get disturbed. What's the fact here? If I try to understand the personality of my husband or my co-worker or whatever, then I'll come to know that, oh, what is the kind of personality he has, and that is how the particular behavior is coming. Understanding the personality will resolve so many issues. Second, I'll try to understand the intent behind the action, and I'll not per se see the action. Once I understand the intent, many more things go out. And at the end of the day, I will also understand that the world is my own echo, my own projection. So whatever echoes were sent out by me are coming back. And why to say that the echoes are coming from outside? Even before they go out, there are inner echoes. Suppose I'm telling to my colleague or co-worker, I'm going to tell that you are a very good and nice person. Even before I say that, my face is smiling, because the inner reflection of that word or that good attitude does give me happiness. But instead, suppose it occurred to me that, oh, you are a bastard and you are a stupid or whatever, then it does hurt me even before the word goes out. So having realized this, some simple truths, having understood the aims or goals of life, and knowing that all the different phases of life should be balanced, it does give me a very good inner situation, and outer and inner balancing. In fact, the outer and inner are inseparable, I would say. If you have an incorrect understanding, your inner self will be full of turmoil and clashes and questions and blames and whatever. If you have a correct understanding, even if the people are not behaving well to you, you will have always a equipoised, cool, calm, resolved inner self, and you will always be smiling and positive from within.
Okay.
That's a wonderful response, Dr. Sailesh Anandji. It sheds tremendous light on how holistic inner science can help us on a day-to-day basis, and to very, very gradually and slowly transform ourselves from within outwardly. And I think the messages that I got, and correct me if I'm wrong, is first to understand that we each have our own personalities, and it's important to understand each individual's personality as it is, and understand that that's not in their control, and that at the end of the day we can only change ourselves. And when we change ourselves from within, we transform ourselves from within, what we ultimately do is we bring out the best in others, because we expect the best from them. Rather than seeing their faults, we learn to see what's right about them rather than what's wrong about them. And that amplifies that energy and that contribution to our lives and for them as well. So it's kind of a win-win situation. But thank you for that wonderful answer, and it did give me a lot of great tips. Thank you.
Yes, if I add 2 sentences to that, I can't go to a rose and expect blueberry from there. Use the power of a rose. And second thing, we all are trying to improve others. So holistic inner science says that, can we improve others? No, please try to improve yourself, and the others will be improved automatically.
Wonderful. We have time for one last question, so we'll go to the audience member for one last question.
Yes, I have a question. Hello, Sailesh Anandji. Thank you so much for your talk. My question is related to this holistic inner science and how it deals with health conditions and health imbalances. Does it have a correlation or a relationship with your external body imbalances?
Okay, good question. You are asking me about the health. Good question. And I would enjoy doing that because I'm a doctor by profession. So now, in today's life, even World Health Organization has revised the definition of health. Initially, it was only the body health. Now, WHO has said it is body, mind, soul health, which is a complete health or a holistic health. Having said that, let me clarify that there has been n number of researches which has clearly brought out that positive or negative attitudes and influences going on within my inner world does have the effect on my outer body. So the negativities or negative things do lead to diseases. There has been a research to prove that the stresses or a stress does have the effect on the immunity or the system of the body to fight against the diseases. The stresses lead to the low immunity level, and there has been research that with positive attitude, even the so-called incurable diseases have been cured. So having said that background, let me come to the physical illnesses. So whenever somebody, suppose I have some physical illness, first and foremost thing is the illness or the body discomfort does give me some pain, agreed? But more than the physical pain, I suffer more by mental pains. Oh, I'm ill, I'm sick, what will happen, whether I'll get cancer, whether I'll have this, whether I'll have that. So this associated psychological or mental trauma is much, much more than the magnitude or the gravity of the physical illness. So once I understand, oh, this, suppose I have a fever, the people say, oh, I have a fever. And the fact is, the toxins or the waste material was getting collected in the body since long. Now this is the body's defense mechanism to throw it out. And once there is a fever, I'll go to the doctor, laboratory, and it will get cured. So in fact, now the fever is going out. The enlightened person, A.M. Patel, had a fracture, hip, neck, femur at the age of 76 years. And he was with a traction in a bed for 2.5 months. Can you imagine such a situation for you? And what would happen to you all throughout the 2.5 months? His face was always smiling without a line of grief. And his answer was fracture had occurred at that moment. From the next moment, it has started uniting or healing. Is that true? So first and foremost is once I have the correct understanding from within, I will always be all right and positive. Second thing, I will be with better clarity, with better inner mindset. Not only I'll be able to deal with the situation in a better way, but the clarity will give me the better perspective to look for the correct treatment, to look for the correct person. So enlightened one says, do both the things. Do make your efforts to have the proper treatment, and from within do have the correct positive mindset, or even if you can pray also. And there has been also many researches on the power of prayer and power of some such things. So working from both sides. And the third important aspect, today I have sustained illness because of my incorrect understanding, ignorance about eating habit, about living habit, about abnormal living, and that has resulted in my today's illness. Now that I know what is correct understanding about the food, what is correct understanding about my life and living and regularity, I will prevent future illnesses happening. So it works on all the aspects, from outer, from inner. It helps in curing the present illness, and it prevents future illnesses occurring.
Thank you
Am
so
I
much.
clear? I have
Absolutely.
incorporated so many concepts deliberately to have you more questions some other time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
The enlightened ones say that the diseases are the result of unnatural living. If you are living naturally and normally, you will not fall prey to many diseases. It is unnatural or abnormal living styles which is leading us to illnesses. And it starts with our food habits. And fortunately or unfortunately, the researches are showing that the food habits of American people are such that they are responsible for very high amount of cancers and other diseases in USA. I hope it should not be true, but these are the scientific researches speaking so.
I would be very interested to see that in a future topic.
Sure.
So thank you everyone for attending and fielding great questions. Thank you Shailesh Anandji for a wonderful introduction to holistic science. As you mentioned, we have covered a lot of ground today. We talked about why holistic inner science is a science, how can we balance our inner and outer living, what is correct understanding. We also talked about the influence of positive attitudes on our physical health. So we're excited to get this Google Talk series going. Our next talk will be on February 2nd at the same time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the topic for next month is Holistic Science Visions for Happy and Harmonious Living. So we'll see you next month. If you need more information about holistic inner science, please visit our website. The website is hscrf.org. I'll repeat that. It's hscrf.org. So this concludes our talk, and see you next month.
Manish bhai, if you give me a fraction of a second, for those who are really interested, there is a small booklet, an introduction to holistic science and integral living. If you just ponder over the pages, you may get introduced to some basic concepts, and that may prepare us better way for more questions. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shailesh Anandji.
Thank you, everybody. And I got benefited more than you. So it is my selfishness, Rajni bhai, but coupled with the interest of everybody. Jai Sachidanand.